Karl.
What a strong young woman. Well, New South Wales has recorded its 10th day without community transmission, paving the way for an almost immediate relaxation of COVID restrictions. From midnight tonight, masks will no longer be compulsory in retail venues. 30 visitors will be allowed in homes and up to 300 guests can attend weddings whilst keeping the 4 square metre rule. And in the last few moments on this program, as you just heard, Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk announcing it's reopening the border with all of New South Wales from February 1. Good news. Epidemiologist and WHO advisor Professor Mary Louise McLaws joins us now from Sydney. Professor, good morning to you. First up, that border decision. Good news. Step in the right direction, huh?
Good morning, Karl. Yes, it's great news. I mean, previously Queensland has required 28 days of zeros, which is basically a classic outbreak management approach of 2 maximum incubation periods, so that's 2 times 14. But they seem to have softened their approach, given that we had quite an extensive outbreak over 32 days, where we totaled about 219 cases. So it'll be good news for the families, and it's possibly a very sensible and safe decision, given the amount of testing that has been going on in New South Wales. And look, our major risk is still quarantine hotels. They've tightened that up. They're now doing testing so that all workers are going home knowing that they have a great certainty that they are negative. And that has made possibly one of the most important decisions. The next one, which I'd like to see, is either no exemptions, everyone has to go into quarantine, or some electronic monitoring for those that have quarantine at home, so that we ensure that they really are under quarantine.
I agree with you completely. I'm not sure why that hasn't happened at this point. Just to go back a little bit, we had the New South Wales Premier on the program yesterday and we put it to her that those testing numbers in New South Wales were particularly low. I think they were at 8,000 just a couple of days ago. I mean, that's not good enough, is it?
Look, that's very low, Karl, but what it's suggesting is that 2 things to me. One is the community's a little bit fatigued, or 2, they don't have any sniffles. And quite rightly, the authorities have said any symptoms, think COVID first. And that's correct. You know, we don't really have any flu. We have very few colds. We probably have some allergies. But I would suggest that they're a little bit fatigued by it all. I mean, New South Wales people went out in record numbers on Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas, Boxing Day, and that's really commendable. So I just think they're a little bit over it, but still I can understand that the authorities really want us to have more testing, but probably the community also probably wants more testing sites, so they don't have GPs.
Again, 100% right. Masks will no longer be compulsory in retail venues, but still mandatory on public transport. This is one of those mixed messages, isn't it, that the public don't really know how to navigate their way through. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, look, I'm with you, Karl. I'm so pleased that they're making it mandatory in transport. That's so important. And in transport, you have poor airflow change, but the same thing in shopping malls. So I'm not quite sure about that one. I think it does send mixed messages, and it's not quite logical. So I'd ask people to, instead of thinking about it as a recommendation, still do it. We're only at day 10. Today we may hear again another 0. So please keep going with the mask in shopping malls until at least the weekend.